Hi, this is Ghost and welcome back. Today I'm going to do a review of the Class 10 unlocks and whether they're worth the grind to get. Starting out with the Cavalry class, which is just not worth. You get a grey skin for your horse, that's it. I'd have loved to have seen the ability to pick a different primary weapon for it, but I understand doing that might make the class a little bit too strong as you can resupply and you heal yourself. So for the purposes of how it currently stands, not worth the grind. Next up is the Pilot and the Tanker class. For the Pilot class you get an extended version of the 1911, which is brilliant. Why wouldn't you want more ammo and less recoil on your 1911? However, like the Tanker class with the sawn-off shotgun, which is also a brilliant weapon, they both suffer from the same problem in the fact that they're on the Pilot and the Tanker class. You don't pick these classes for the weapon, and for that reason I can't recommend getting them or grinding them out to level 10 primarily for the weapons. Yes, they're great if you have to pop out at the last moment and you're going to die. Having one of these weapons is going to help you grab a kill or two and enable you to pick up a proper class and maybe carry on and get a few more kills. If I was going to recommend one of the two of them, it would be the sawn-off shotgun. But for those reasons that I previously stated, I can't recommend grinding for them specifically for those weapons. Next up is the Medic class. Now, the Medic got a rough end of the stick, didn't it? It got the Slep Ladder 1906. Hope I'm saying that right. Which is just a bad gun. It has some positives, I will say. It's got good aim down sight accuracy, good muzzle velocity, and a really good rate of fire. However, only has a 5-round mag, so negates the rate of fire because you're not going to spam fire it because you've only got 5 shots. It's not particularly great at long range because you've only got iron sights, and it's got that weird kind of rechambering sort of mechanism each shot. The whole rear sight shifts, which makes it quite easy to lose track of targets. On top of this, the reload's not particularly brilliant. It's just not a particularly good weapon. I don't know why they bothered putting something like this in as a level 10 unlock, considering as you unlock through the Medic class, there are so many other weapons that I consider level 10 worthy. And we got this, and on top of that, the main issue I've got with most of the level 10 weapons is they don't have that sort of X factor that makes them special. It gives them that sort of extra edge over something else. Why I'd use this weapon over one of the other Medic weapons. And as it currently stands, the Medic and the Support don't have that X factor. Now, an X factor for this weapon obviously is the fact that it's very accurate. Why, in that case, does it not have a sight? If it had an optic, it would be a good anti-sniper class, and it would be something that would be worth picking. As it currently stands, it doesn't have that, and it needs that. The only sort of weapon that's mildly close to it at the moment is the auto-loading 8 factory, which also only has a 5-round mag, but that weapon does have a sniper variant, which makes it better at long range, and the extended version, which makes it really good at close quarters. So for that purpose, this weapon is not worth unlocking. On top of that, unlike the other 3 classes, you don't get the added extra of unlocking a universal pistol, which I don't really understand why DICE have added this into the game. It seems a bizarre choice, and I know the Medic did need a bit of a nerf in comparison to what it's been in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. It was the dominant force on the battlefield, and there was no reason to really pick the other weapons. Anyway, moving on to the Support class. The Support class is the least played class in the game, which kind of understandable when you look at what its level 10 is. It's the Hoyt automatic low weight. And I was looking at the stats for this weapon and it is almost identical to the Lewis gun. It has slightly less side-to-side recoil, but other than that it is almost identical, other than the fact that it has a 26-round magazine, which actually takes longer to reload when empty than the Lewis's gun's 47-round mag. It just doesn't seem comparable. On top of that, the Lewis gun also has different variants, which this one doesn't. I will say I do have a lovely legendary skin for it, which does make me want to use this weapon more. As I said, I kind of feel when you get to level 10, you should have this sort of X factor that makes the weapon more special. Or more special, that's terrible, I guess. It makes it something that stands out and doesn't look exactly the same as all the other weapons in the class. Now, this weapon was developed or sort of adapted from a normal straight pull bolt action rifle from the Canadian. Wow, I really can't talk. It's adapted from a Canadian straight pull bolt action rifle, and I'd have loved to have seen something that it didn't have a damage drop off or something like that, so it made it something a bit more special. But it doesn't have a high rate of fire, so it was never going to be an incredible weapon. But to have something so it didn't have damage drop off would make it something. It would make it have that X factor, give it something special. And I think that would make the gun something. As it currently stands, I can't see any reason to pick it over any of the other LMGs in the game. If you want something that's really good at long range, you pick the 1909. That is incredible at long range. It has much lower recoil and has a faster reload. Also, I just consider it as a much better weapon if you're going to consider taking people out at long range. Also has 4 rounds extra. The Hoyt just really got the short end of the stick. Now, it is a cool looking weapon, and for that reason I do kind of use it primarily for the fact that it's kind of cool, and I do have that legendary skin for it. I do use it every now and again. I think, is it worth it? Yeah, and then I use it for a while. I'm like, no, I'd just rather use the MG15 on the bar. Anyway, on top of unlocking this weapon for the support class, you also unlock a universal pistol, being the C93. Now, the C93 has got pretty average stats. It doesn't sort of stand out as something spectacular that hits hard, but it's a pretty cool weapon. Added on top of that, when you scope in, as you can see on the butt of the gun, if you've gone to the point of making an emblem, it's engraved on there and it just looks cool. Having that little ghost on there just makes me want to use the weapon more. And for that reason, I'd almost recommend the class to level 10 unlock. Next up is the sniper class, and the sniper you get, well, it's the scout class, isn't it? It's not the sniper class. The sniper, the scout. You unlock the Martini-Henry, which has gone through its, its correction, shall we say. When the game first released, it applied its sweet spot mechanic between 30 and 80 meters to every part of the body, so you guaranteed yourself a lot more one-hit kills with it. They corrected this in the last patch, which has meant that the gun has fallen off. No one seems to use this weapon anymore, and I didn't think it really needed that change. It wasn't world-beatingly different, amazing weapon. It still had a very slow muzzle velocity, so it was pretty useless at range. On top of the fact that it didn't have an optic sight, so again was very difficult to pick out targets at range, and had a very slow rate of fire. Its positives were it did get a lot of one hits, and that one hit range is that X factor for this weapon. It has a great one hit area of shot. Like, being able to one hit someone between 30 and 80 meters is incredible. Hopefully with this next patch they might give its rate of fire back and make it a bit more usable again. Until then, it's not a great weapon, but it's still worth the use. It's so rewarding to get kills with, and it just feels good when you get a kill with it. Plus, the sound the gun makes is just epic. As well as the level 10 unlock of the Martini-Henry, you get the Calibri, which is a weapon that annoys me. I don't know why DICE went to the effort of putting this in the game. It serves no purpose. It's pointless. You literally have to get to a point where a guy has no health to be able to get a kill with him. You got such low damage, it's just shit. There's no nice way of putting it. Yes, it does have a great 5x head shot multiplier, which means you can get kills with it, but there's no reason to use it over any other weapon, and for that reason cannot recommend that as an unlock. And last but not least is everyone's favourite, the Hellriegel, which again has that X factor of a weapon. It has a 60 round magazine on an SMG, on top of which it has the second highest rate of fire out of all the primary weapons in the game, only topped out by the Automatico, so it is a brilliant weapon. I know they did nerf its side-to-side recoil at range on fully auto fire, but if you tap or burst fire this weapon, you're still very capable of getting kills at a longer range, which the Automatico is not, so it's got a much more effective range, although at very close quarters it will always lose out to the Automatico. As a level 10 weapon, it is wonderful. You're able to, it does give that sort of standout statistic that you kind of wanted from something that you've had to grind for. And being able to take 5 or 6 people out without having to reload is incredible. It's really worth the unlock, and I honestly say should be your number 1 level 10 unlock. As an addition to unlocking the level 10 Hellriegel and destroying people with that, you also unlock the number 3 revolver, which is a great revolver. It's one of the better revolvers in the game. It reloads all 6 shots at once. If you're very accurate with it, at close range you can get 90 damage headshots, and on top of that you can two-shot people at close range, making it very effective. In the last patch they did buff its DPS, its rate of fire, so it does kill a little bit faster as well. It is a really good weapon, and for that reason, with those 2 weapons, it is a great class to unlock to level 10 first, and would be my top recommendation. Obviously, the next one would be the Scout, then probably the Hoyt, and last of all, the Medic. I really think the Medic needs some love. What they do with it, and I think the best way of doing any of this would be just to give us the variants of each of these weapons. This would also give us 8 new weapons to play with, which would be so much better. Like, we're already limited for the amount of weapons we have in the game. Having 8 more would be an awesome benefit. Anyway guys, I hope you found this informative, I hope you enjoyed this commentary, and I shall see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye for now.